welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you guys are new. For today's video, I decided to do a different take on the other videos that I've done and basically do an in-depth video about how you deal with difficult clients. Now, I will be making a huge disclaimer here, like I do with most of my videos, and just saying that not all clients that you run across in your freelance makeup artist business will be the most difficult people ever. Now that I think about it, none of my brides I've ever come in contact with have ever been difficult whatsoever, honestly. The only thing we've kind of run across is like scheduling issues, and we've kind of had to go back and forth, but that's not necessarily them personally being difficult. It's not something that, you know, somebody just randomly flew off the handle, became a bridezilla, things like that. Nothing crazy, honestly, has happened with any weddings. I have zero complaints about any of my brides. All of them have been super fantastic, and I've been so fortunate. But I have come up with a series of, I guess, strategies or just tips for you guys in case you guys do run across any sort of clients that are difficult to deal with. I did make a whole entire bulleted list here like I usually do, and I will be going through those. I'm not going in any particular order here, so I'm just going to be running through them. So first off, I guess the number one thing that I wanted to cover is basically setting expectations for your clients before you even meet with them in person. How you present yourself to somebody is the biggest factor of how your interactions are going to go in the future. So for some reason, you come into it thinking that, oh, I'm just going to have this as like a casual kind of friendly conversation and everything, and you drop all your professionalism. People are obviously not going to take you as a professional, so you're going to get screwed over several different times because you don't stand your ground, you don't act like a professional, so clients aren't going to take you seriously. I mean, makeup is a really fun career and everything, and obviously weddings are super fun to do if you guys are in bridal like myself. I mean, you want to be friendly, obviously, but you don't want to be on the level where they feel like they're super comfortable with you to the point where they feel like they can just get away with anything and push you around and kind of just, you know, let things happen that shouldn't happen professionally. Do you know what I mean? Hopefully I kind of made that as clear as I possibly could. I know that's not super in-depth or anything and super, you know, specific, but I just kind of wanted to lay that out there, that first impressions are very important. So how you handle yourself as a professional is how your clients are going to treat you. Okay, now I'm going to go into examples of how you guys can show this to your clients. First of all, I'm literally the worst example for this, so please do not go by my example, but it's really not smart, honestly, to have your clients text you or direct message you through Instagram or Facebook. And again, I am like literally the worst because I do this all the time. I give out clients my phone number all the time and they text me, and sometimes it's like 8 o'clock at night and I'll respond to them. The reason that you don't want to do this is basically just what I said. They can basically have the freedom to message you at all hours of the day, all hours of the night, everything like that. And for normal businesses like salons, for instance, they usually run from 8 o'clock at night to 5 o'clock in the morning and have regular business hours, and then their clients can't contact them anymore. But for us as freelancers, it's a lot different because we're just operating solely for ourselves and we don't have business hours per se. Eventually, I want to get to the point of having set office hours so my clients know that I won't respond to them before a certain time or after a certain time in the day, because overall, it's very important as a freelancer to set your boundaries with people, because then they're going to most likely take you more as a professional as opposed to somebody who's just a friend and they can text all the time. Again, I'm literally the worst at this. I literally have to set more boundaries with people. But for right now, as I'm kind of just getting started in my career, I'm just kind of, you know, feeling around and everything. And sometimes it is very appropriate to have your phone number given out to people. And especially, you know, you being able to have that communication with people if you need to get a hold of your bride on the wedding day, or if you need to get a hold of anybody else on the wedding day. It's really important to exchange phone numbers, but you might just not want to do that too early on, because obviously you're just going to be getting texts at like 6 o'clock in the morning and then midnight, and, you know, it's a Saturday or Sunday. Even though you work on Saturdays and Sundays being a makeup artist, it's like you don't want to hear from people all the time, you know? But of course, since they have your phone number, they think of you more as a friend, so then they're most likely to just kind of be messaging you whenever. So you do have to kind of set those boundaries with people. Next, you also want to come off more professional by just, I guess, writing really professional emails to people. So if you don't have some sort of template or some sort of structure when you email people, when you respond to inquiries, then you probably should set up something for yourself. For instance, when I respond to an inquiry from a bride via email, it usually says something like, "Hi, so-and-so. Thank you so much for reaching out to me. Congrats on your engagement." And then I say basically if I'm available for their wedding or if I'm not available for the wedding. If I am available for the wedding, then I will tell them any sort of travel fees or any other fees that are involved in my services. I do post my prices publicly on my website, so usually brides at some point in time will have seen my prices, so they really don't have an issue about pricing necessarily. And then I'll go ahead and link them to the bridal FAQs page on my website, and that'll just give them more information about my services if they haven't checked that out already. If I can't take their wedding date, then I will say I'm so sorry, but I cannot unfortunately accommodate you for services on your wedding date. So here are my list of referrals, and then I will go ahead and, as a courtesy to them, be linking all my contacts that I have for other makeup artists. That basically shows that I'm a professional because I have other professional contacts. So that's why it's really important also to have contacts with other makeup artists in your area, just in case you need to do that for people. It's just a very nice thing to do in general. The other thing you want to do for your clients as far as setting expectations for them is basically telling them how the services are going to go. For instance, you can be like, yeah, so what we're going to do is you're going to sign a contract, do this deposit, and then after that we can schedule the bridal trial. The bridal trial usually takes place in 1 to 2 months before the wedding date, and then I'm going to make a timeline for you, and then we're just going to go from there. Kind of just almost give them an outline of how your services normally go so they know what to expect. Then they also know that you mean business, especially if you have a contract and a deposit. That also shows your professionalism as well, because that definitely means that you're serious. A lot of brides will probably think it's a little bit much for a makeup artist to do a bridal contract and deposit, but overall you are a wedding vendor a lot of the times and you do need a contract and deposit to secure yourself and also for the client to secure themselves as well. So having a contract and a deposit and also telling them the schedule of how your services are going to go definitely lets them know that you are a professional and you take your career very seriously. So in turn, they will take you very seriously. Okay, so the next thing that's kind of, I guess, going on with the last thing that I talked about, just being professional and everything, is basically setting the tone and making a connection with people. This is very, very important because you want to be able to do this obviously in a very friendly way, but also maintain your professionalism. So obviously you want to get to know them as a person. So you can kind of talk about like more surface level kind of things, normally how you would in like a small conversation, with people. So obviously you want to ask them all about their wedding and, about their fiance and things like that. But I wouldn't start talking about like anything super personal about yourself or about them, especially if they feel uncomfortable with it. You don't want to make your clients feel uncomfortable in any way, because then they will definitely get very bad vibes from you, and that'll probably kill the mood for like the entire like application and wedding day application. Definitely make sure that you have a really positive energy the whole entire time and you don't talk about really like any super negative things. If your client tries to talk about negative things, just kind of almost like deter the conversation, if that makes sense, or maybe just change topics really fast, because basically you don't want that negative kind of topic to be associated with you, if that makes sense. Like you just want to have positive vibes all the way around. You want to have really positive energy with them. And obviously, weddings are super positive things. Normally people are really excited about their weddings and they would be more than happy to talk to you about it. I love hearing about weddings and I do not mind literally if the client talks to me the whole entire application, because I am 100% okay with that. And then on the other note, if you have a client that does not want to talk to you at all, I would probably maybe press them for a couple of questions, but you almost have to kind of be good at reading people, if that makes sense. Some of your clients will be more quiet in general and just maybe not want to talk to you, or they're more introverted. It's going to be more comfortable for them if you're not like bombarding them with things and questions. They might feel really overwhelmed and they might just think that you're just a very like overwhelming presence to them, and they're going to feel very, very uncomfortable. The other thing you want to do is build trust with people. This is literally the number one most important thing. As soon as you lose trust and respect for somebody, it's really, really hard to get it back. You really want your clients to be able to have trust in you. You don't want to have them question anything that you do. So confidence is key when it comes to building trust as well. Everything just kind of comes with experience, and you will know how to, basically read your clients a little bit better as you do more weddings or get more clients. Can't really explain to you in depth of like how you do this necessarily, but it's just kind of something that you learn along the way. Obviously, as you gain more experience, your confidence will also build too. You don't want to seem ever like overly cocky though. I hate makeup artists that come in and they're just like, yep, I'm the best. Nobody else can compete with me. You will never get anybody else like me because I'm so great. You don't want to be that kind of arrogant person when you walk in, because then people obviously will not like you at all. So you just want to make sure that you are confident, but just don't seem braggy about it, or I guess just be like really humble about it, if that makes sense. Want to let them know that you know what you're doing, but without coming off as braggy. And it's a really, really fine line sometimes. For instance, if a client's maybe unsure about like a technique that you're doing, or maybe a certain color that you're trying to put on them, maybe what you can do, instead of being like, oh no, I've done this before, I know what I'm doing, trust me. Instead of knocking their idea, maybe ask them, what would you do instead? Or, oh, in my professional opinion, I would do this instead. For instance, maybe if they want one eye look and you know it's not going to suit their eye shape, and then you have a suggestion, maybe you can do their look on one of their eyes and then your look on the other one. And about 99.9% of the time, they will probably pick your eye makeup look because overall you are the trained professional. This also happens with lip colors a lot. A lot of the brides that I have usually want like the perfect, like, you know, soft pink, like kind of bridal lip sort of color. Do you know what I mean? Like everybody just wants like this really cutesy, like nude pink bridal lip. But pinks do not flatter everybody. Like, for instance, pinks look horrible on me. If I try to put a baby pink sort of soft bridal lip on me, my skin tone doesn't look right with it. I have a really olivey skin tone and it looks super Barbie pink on me. So a lot of the times you kind of have to almost like show your clients that it doesn't work first, and then basically put on something that you think that does work. And yeah, about 99% of the time, they will agree with you. Don't be like a know-it-all or anything. Just kind of almost like show them in the nicest way possible that that combination that they think in their head is not going to work with their skin tone or with their eye shape, etc. And then they will basically have more trust in you. So they won't be as likely to like question you in the future because they already knew that you were right about that. So they'll kind of just more so let you kind of do your own thing after that. All right, the next thing I wanted to cover is being very flexible and being prepared for situations. These kind of go hand in hand. A lot of things can happen unexpectedly, especially with weddings. I've had a lot of unexpected changes, a lot of unexpected scheduling issues. There's some girls that just randomly want to be added on last minute and I have to rearrange the whole schedule on the day of. So, I mean, it's just different things like that that can happen. So you always have to be flexible and you always have to be prepared. The only times where you can't really be super flexible with people is if you have a prior engagement after that or before that and you can't rearrange the schedule or anything if it is a scheduling issue. But other than that, if you have the whole entire day just dedicated to that wedding, for instance, and you have 8 people and then like 2 other people want to join on at the end, you kind of have to, you know, manage your time a little bit better and just kind of work a little bit quicker. This also goes with being very, very prepared. So you always have to be prepared for any situation. And most of the time, this has to do with you just having the right things with you, if that makes sense. For instance, you always want to be prepared with maybe having like extra touch-up kits if you do bridal, because a lot of the time people will add on people at the very last minute. So you want to make sure you have extra touch-up kits just in case. I don't do bridal hair, but I always carry around bobby pins because just in case the hairstylist leaves and somebody's freaking out about the fact that they don't have bobby pins or their hair's not staying up and nobody else has like hairspray or bobby pins or whatever, I usually bring hairspray and bobby pins with me just in case. And then that's like a save the day moment that I can have, you know, and then that bride will always remember that I saved their day, even though I wasn't really responsible for their hair too. All right, I'm done talking about all the situations that could basically lead into having difficult clients and how you can avoid those. But now I'm going to talk about the actual categories of the difficult clients that you can come across. I thought this might be a very interesting take on this, but I basically categorized the difficult clients in about 4 different categories because you will probably have all of these people at one point in time in your career, and I definitely have had those, but hardly any of these have been brides. So the first person that kind of can be a little bit difficult is people having unrealistic expectations. So a lot of the times with the unrealistic expectations, this will mostly go with makeup looks in general, or just makeup looks that won't necessarily suit them and you know it won't look good on them, but they just have these unrealistic expectations and then they think that you can accomplish anything because you do makeup. So for instance, a lot of the times when I tell people to look up reference photos for their bridal trials, they'll usually pull things off of Pinterest or Google, right? But a lot of the times, brides have no clue that all those makeup looks, the brides have several layers of makeup on their faces, not like in a heavy, cakey way, but they just have like a lot of layers. I mean, you put on all the layers as a makeup artist and everything, and if you do it in the right way, it won't feel heavy. But just a lot of the brides think that they have really minimal makeup on, their skin looks flawless because it's been photoshopped, and they have no idea that their skin's been smoothed out, blurred, photoshopped, whatever. And yeah, they have this unrealistic expectation that their skin's gonna look absolutely baby smooth, and sometimes that's not possible. Sometimes your clients may have like a lot of texture going on, and texture will show through makeup, and it's not going to look photoshopped. There is no possible way that a person can have 0 pores, does not look like any sort of texture is going on in their face, especially in like the contours of their face or around their nose or something like that. If it looks like there is 0 texture going on, that photo has been heavily photoshopped. And I'm sorry to break it to you, but we're never gonna have skin like that. It's not gonna be possible. Some people come pretty darn close, but you're always gonna have texture on your skin, and it just can't be smoothed out unless it's through a computer. The other unrealistic expectation I come across a lot is with older women. It's usually like the mothers of the brides that have this issue, or with any like older client that I come across. Basically what happens, as you guys can probably already tell by this topic, is that they always want to look about 20 years younger, and they want all the fine lines and wrinkles to disappear, and they think because you're a makeup artist that you can accomplish this. And I'm sorry to tell you, but that is not possible. We cannot reverse signs of aging. It just can be kind of more concealed, but you're always going to see the fine lines and wrinkles. It's always going to, be there and everything, but we can always assure that makeup doesn't settle into those fine lines if you use the proper techniques, but it's never going to hide it completely. We're makeup artists, we're not plastic surgeons. We don't do lip fillers or skin fillers or anything. We can't fill in fine lines and wrinkles. We can just put makeup on top of it and hide it for the time being. So the next client that you might come across is the person that micromanages you. Obviously, if you guys haven't had those clients that kind of just almost like boss you around the whole entire time, or think they know better than you even though you're the professional, it kind of gets under your skin sometimes if you guys have ever come across clients like that. And this is also the reason why you want to build trust with your clients, because then they won't micromanage you as much. If you seem very unsure of yourself, they're more likely to kind of start micromanaging you because they're like, oh yeah, I really want this done. I don't know if she can accomplish it for me or not, so I just want to make sure that she can. So it's one of those things that they really need to have trust in you and have you know what you're doing, and that also comes with confidence as well. If you basically set the standards, let them know that you mean business and that you're very serious about this and you know what you're doing and you have confidence in yourself and you have confidence in what you're saying to them, then they will not be as likely to try to tell you how to do your job because they already know you know how to do your job, and they'll be more trusting in you. Okay, the third client is honestly the person that kind of scares me the most, to be completely honest, like worse than the micromanager, because at least I know they know what they want. But the third client that is kind of difficult to deal with, and you wouldn't think they would be, but they kind of are, is the do whatever you want client. Don't ever let somebody tell you to just do whatever you want, because your version of doing whatever you want is not the same thing as they're actually thinking. So realistically, even though people are like, oh yeah, I love your work, do whatever you want, I trust you, please don't let anybody say that to you, because somebody deep down always knows what they want. Like they always are thinking of like a certain look in their head, or they're thinking of a certain technique or a certain color palette, and they're always going to want something deep down. You literally almost have to play 20 questions with them sometimes to be able to figure out what makeup look they're doing. But you really need to dig deep when that happens, because if you aren't clear on what they want and you just do whatever you want, they're probably not going to like it. And then you have to end up redoing the whole entire makeup look or parts of it because you didn't do it the way they wanted it to, but even though they didn't verbalize it to you, and that's what happened. So in reality, just make sure that if you have the do whatever you want clients, don't let them say that. Just ask them all these questions basically until you actually figure out what they want, because they do want something. I think the fourth client is probably the one that annoys me the most. And I know we're kind of getting into like the pet peeve situation video that I did, but the miser/discount clients are what gets me the most. I hate people when they ask for discounts for things or try to haggle with me over my prices. That might be normal in some countries and some cultures, but in the United States, that's a no-no. You don't ask for discounts, you pay what it is. For instance, if you go into a salon like, Ulta or an Aveda salon or something like that, and they say, hey, your hairstyle is $75, and you pay it, you don't even ask questions. You don't ask questions, you just pay it. You don't haggle with that salon owner about what you're gonna pay for that. Will you take $50 for that instead of $75? And then the salon would probably just laugh you out of the salon basically and be like, no, you got to pay $75 though. Same thing with makeup artistry too. I don't understand why freelancers are any different than salons, to be completely honest, because we're all business owners. We all are in it for the same thing. I don't understand why people think that just because you're an individual person that they feel like they need to haggle with you, but that's a whole other level of disrespect. The way I see it, when people ask for discounts, it's them being cheap, but then also that they're just trying to get the best deal as possible. But the reason that really pisses me off is because people price themselves for a reason. I mean, I set my prices the way I have them because my level of experience, the quality of work that I put out, and the many years that I've been doing this. So it's kind of like, I feel like I'm worth the amount that I'm charging, and that's why I'm charging the amount that I am. So when people haggle with me and they've already seen my portfolio, they see my work, they know what I can do and what I'm capable of, and they still haggle with me over prices, it almost is kind of like a shot in the foot to me, because I'm like, do you not feel like I'm worth the amount that I'm charging? I don't understand. And so sometimes people literally will like cut my fee in half even after I tell them. And I'm like, why did you even bother asking me if you were just going to haggle with me anyways? I don't know. I don't want to really get into it. I know that's going to like seem really ranty after a while, so I'm just going to stop and put it right there. But just let me know if you guys have ever had the same situation, because like the miser/discount clients really get me the most. Obviously, you can see I'm upset about it because I just had it happen to me the other day. Just in general, though, if you have a client that does that to you, most likely they're going to be pretty picky and pretty difficult to deal with. And so a lot of times when they try to haggle with you and it doesn't work out, it's probably for the best. Okay, well, I think that's it for the video. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. Sorry it got really ranty at the end. I know that this is kind of a sensitive video, especially if you guys are a client watching, because I'm not trying to go after anybody or just talking about specific people or anything. It's just kind of situations that you kind of want to avoid, or how you avoid those circumstances dealing with difficult clients. If you guys did find this video helpful, go ahead and give me a big thumbs up, as well as subscribing to my channel down below. I also upload a ton of makeup artist related content, so if you guys are interested in that, definitely go ahead and join the channel. As always, I hope you guys are having an amazing day, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. All right, bye.